Hey, what's up, everybody? It's the one, the only Alcor Starchild here, and yep, the one and only, the Alcor, all by myself, the only one putting out these messages, just me, alone. Well, anyhow, I posted a video yesterday, and it wasn't intended for humans to watch, but for some reason, people watched it. But whatever, I figured maybe they just turn on for first few seconds, just realized it's not for them, so they just turned it off. This one is for you. This one is for the humans, for the people who are curious, or actually people who are taking notes and trying to, navigate through this world and this system and what's happening here. One thing I want to say is that, I was wrong before in 2020 when I thought, hey, this is it, it's over. I thought, we were at the end. I thought we were in a simulation. I was 99, I would say, well, I was 72% sure. Because if you watch my videos back in 2020, where I was predicting a lot of stuff that was happening, I was making predictions and they were coming true left and right. And it was because I was looking at the 1972, phenomena, and that's when I was like, wow, these things are predicting what's happening in 2020. Those things haven't stopped. It started in 2020. It didn't start in 2019. It didn't start in 2018 or 17 or whatever, which 2017 was a major event. I think it was a major awakening for a lot of people. Like, there were people, Crazy Jen, and others. I think Jeffrey Dodery. I think he had a 2017 thing. Like, there was a lot of people, maybe not a lot, but select few people who had, a once in a lifetime, changing event for them that changed their life. And it was during that year in 2017. And we know that a lot of stuff happened in 2017, by the way. It's a 172 year. 217, 172. Just like 1972, if you remove the 9, you got 172. 1972, right? You remove the 9, you got 172. Just weird. And this year is a countdown, a 172 year countdown. And I showed that in a video. But, a lot of people had a lot of stuff that just changed for them overnight in 2017. Some people, it's just weird, and there are people who are saying, maybe we're fallen angels or whatever and stuff like that. And the thing is the angels in the Bible don't look like Anunnaki. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you bought into the lie. I'm sorry that I bought into the lie. But there are people who are exposing that now. There are many people out there with YouTube videos saying, hey, the angels don't look anything like what we were told and what we thought. And I was going to do a whole video on this, but I'm just going to touch on it real quick now. They talked about how the aliens, or not the aliens, but the angels of the Bible, they show what they're described like, right? You can look it up. Just look it up. What did the angels really look like in the Bible? And they don't look anything like the Anunnaki. So why did the Anunnaki thing even become why did the image of the Anunnaki become the prediction of what the angels look like now, right? Like, because if it doesn't describe that in the Bible, then why did they hijack the image of the Anunnaki? And who hijacked the image of the Anunnaki? I'm going to say, most likely, who was it? Michelangelo or Leonardo? Which one of the guys? Was it Michelangelo, the one who did the paintings? I can't remember which one it was, but he did like the big cathedral paintings, and he painted these angels that look like, Anunnaki. They don't look anything like what was in the text. And that same person, was it Da Vinci? I think it was Da Vinci. Yeah, Leonardo da Vinci. And the same guy, when you do research on him, he was the one who also drew up, wasn't he the one who drew up that picture of the human and it was like the man with the 6 arms or whatever, it's like his arms in these different positions, or 4 arms and 4 legs, because he showed the legs together, legs out, arms together, arms out. You know what I'm talking about, with the circle and the wheel around it. Well, they said that he was doing experiments on the corpses in the Vatican. Yeah, right, my ass. I don't believe that at all. It's a good possibility. They say, oh, it's the corpses. It's a good possibility that the Vatican had slaves, people that were considered criminals, and they were giving them to him in this basement to dissect and do horrible things to. Because it just seems like all this lies come from because it definitely, the way the angels were described, and that's another thing too, right? When they say in the Bible that the angels found the women fair and to, take them as their wives, right? Well, if you look at the way the angels actually look, these crazy looking creatures and beings, the women must have been frightened of these beings, literally frightened of them, so they were taken against their will. Not that these women just fell all over these beautiful Anunnaki looking men, but they were probably taken against their will and impregnated against their will. And because these beings, now when you see because it doesn't make sense that Anunnaki men who have sexual relations with earthling women, that their children would come out to be these grotesque giants, these monstrous looking, humanoids. But it does when you look at the actual, description of what angels look like in the Bible, that there would be this weird deformities that would come from these women that were taken against their will by these beings, right? And people say, oh, well, those were the bad angels, the good angels. Oh, come on. Whatever. Anyhow, that's not what this whole video is about. That's just one of the subjects I wanted to touch on. They hijacked the Anunnaki. They hijacked that image, and they hijacked it later on, way later after the Bible was written, years and years later after the Bible was written. And there's another thing too I was thinking about, and I was thinking about this today. It was like, I should do a video, and I may possibly do a video about this. I was thinking about superheroes, right? Like you see superheroes who have certain powers. Like I started watching that show, The Boys. I haven't watched it before, and a friend of mine said, "Hey, you should watch the show. You really need to watch it." I got into the second episode, and guess what? The guy in the one of the main characters, he's wearing a T-shirt that says Van Halen 1972, and I'm like, oh my god. And then the main character, who was in, he was in, what was the name of that movie with Thor, Ragnarok? He was the one who became the gatekeeper in Ragnarok after they removed the original gatekeeper. Both of those guys were born in 1972. And then he also was in the Star Trek Into the Darkness movie, where he was the one who announced that there are 72 people in cryostasis in these missiles. Well, he's also in that show, The Boys, and he was born in 1972. So I was like, okay, so I'll watch it. But as I was watching that show, I was thinking about, you see these superheroes that have certain powers, like the one, he can shoot lasers out of his eyes. The other, he can fly. Some people are super strong. Some people are super fast. Generic stuff, those type of things. Imagine a superhero that can walk across water. That would be awesome, right? Like if you had a superhero that could walk across water. Like this superhero has the ability to walk on water. Like instead of going underwater like the Aquaman or like the Fishman in this show called The Deep, or I don't know what his name is. But having a superhero that can walk on water. How about a superhero that can bring people back to life? Like somebody dies, and this superhero is like a paladin from World of Warcraft, or one of those one of those D&D characters where you're a priest and you can bring people back to life. That's a superpower. That's a superpower. That's not magic. That's a superpower. If you can bring people back to life, that's a superpower. You're a superhero. And you can walk on water? That's a superpower. You're a superhero. You can walk on water. You could do all these things. Maybe you can part the sea. Like the one guy make the water part. That's a superpower. These are superpowers. If there was a person who could do that, that person would be a superhero. And when you look at, especially in the show The Boys, and you see like how these people are like falling all over them and stuff, like, oh my god, superheroes and stuff like that. And we see it in all these movies and stuff, and TV shows and cartoons, and how the people are just like so amazed, right? And even in like the Superman, right? The Superman movie, they made a statue of Superman. Well, here, let me tell you something. Every single superhero would have statues. All of them. Aquaman, Wonder Woman. It wouldn't just be Superman, Batman. Even like the old Batman comic books, the old Batman cartoons and TV shows, stuff like that. There would be, the moment that somebody was able, and he didn't have any superpowers, but he was predicted as a hero because he was able to do things that most people couldn't do. He was able to do things that most people weren't doing. And he had this crazy look to him. People would build statues. It wouldn't just be for Superman. They all would have statues. And not only would they all have statues, there would be not just one statue, but statues all over the place of these superheroes. Imagine one single superhero in the world you live in now. There would be a statue at every city hall. There would be statues that would be on the money. They would change, like, they would make, now there's like, they gave Donald Trump his own money in Israel. It's not real. They gave him, there's gold coins with him on it. They made a currency for him over there. Imagine somebody with a superpower today to be able to resurrect people from the dead. Or imagine the superpower to heal the blind, to walk into a children's hospital and have the superpower to walk in there and have the superpower to wave your hands across these children's eyes. These children are blind, and give them the power to see. That is a superpower, and everyone would be talking about it, and everyone would flock to that. Even people who are, that would be considered like the elites, right? They would want that person in their corner. They would do everything they could to get this person who can make people see. You can make somebody see again. You can bring somebody. If I'm an elite person who is like running a country, and I heard that there is somebody with a superpower that can bring people back to life, you better bet your ass I would have that guy taken. And if he wasn't going to come by his own free will, maybe not personally me, but these people would do that. They wouldn't kill that person. Hell no! I'm a Caesar. I'm a king. I'm gonna keep that some bitch of mine and locked up in the castle. And if I die, he's gonna bring my ass back to life. This is my chance for immortality through this person, this superhero who can bring life into the dead. This superhero who can walk on water. And by now you already know I'm talking about Jesus. Where are all of the statues? Where's the money? Why? These are the things that people never talk about and never think about, because they only look at, oh, there's maybe like 20 people in a town. Come on. So, the people, the guy was able to do all these things supposedly. If he was, hell, somewhere over in China or India, they would have sent armies to get this guy. They would have been like, this is a superhero. They would have got him. They would have got him, and they would have brought him back to their land. There would have been wars fighting over this person. If this person existed, was able to do these things. That is a superhero. That is our superpowers. Superpowers. And by the way, that's a Jupiter story of a Jupiter who came to this earth. A Jupiter story. And if you ask the Jupiters, was that Jupiter special? Could he do these things? And I'm pretty sure that the Jupiters say no. He was just a regular guy. No. And so you have to take a look, and it was supposedly their guy from, that's part, where these people come from. They even said that they don't even know where they came from. They come walking across the desert. Oh, they came from Egypt. Bullshit. Nobody knows where they came from. They came from Jupiter. They came from the black box. Why do you think they worship that thing? They have people circling that so no normal people who want to do scientific experiments can get near it. It's control. It's complete mind control. Make the slaves circle it. Circle that box. And we see this box in all of the Jupiter's movies. That box is in Transformers, by the way. Shia LaBeouf, a Jupiter. That box is in, they call it the Mother Box in the Justice League movie. By the way, Wonder Woman, a Jupiter. The Flash, a Jupiter, and in a lot of trouble right now. All these movies, they constantly have boxes, right? Even in the first Avengers movie, what were they going for? A box, a magical box. And then when I watched the S.H.I.E.L.D. show, what was in there? A magical box. It held all this information because there was a Jupiter, Agent Coulson, who is a Jupiter, who was getting information from the box. And then when it was his time before he died, he put information into the box for the next guy to take over. The information coming from the box. And then they had these cubes that people can go in and out of these dimensions. They're giving you they're telling, it's right, they put it out there for you. When the veil lifts, you can't say they didn't tell you. Well, he told you so. All the crazy stuff that's going on right now, with these crazy, they need a book of rules. They're not like the humans of this earth. They have to have that book of rules. Humans don't typically need a book full of rules to know what's, acceptable and what's not acceptable. You don't need it. But these people do. When they came from their planet, it's not all of the Jupiters. It probably was like their outcasts that they sent here. Right? It was like the ones that was like, oh yeah, we'll just send them to Earth. And here's some rules so you guys to stop screwing things up. And they use that, and that's why they don't, and that's another thing too. If you listen to the Jupiters, they'll tell you that your Bible and the other texts and stuff like that are not legitimate. That it's there because it's theirs. What is it all about? It's about Jupiters. The literature is about the Jupiters. So why is anybody arguing with Jupiters about what their doctrine is just because you had your people change it? So yes, they obviously have to be right. And they come to this planet and they have to have rules. Because if you look at all the crazy stuff that's going on right now, they just exposed Amber Heard in court for being a liar. Lying about, donating money to the Children's Hospital. That is one of the most heinous things you can possibly do. She went on television saying, they said, so you donated the full $7 million? And she said, yes, I donated the full $7 million. And she got a massive applause and people just looked at her. And she was and even the UN I think it was the United Nations made her like an ambassador for, an advocate for women who are abused and stuff like that. And she got all this praise and all this and stuff. And later on I come to find out she never gave the $7 million. She spent it. Because, and you know how we know she spent it? Because she's saying now she can't pay the $10 million back that she lost a lawsuit for because she was lying. Listen to the entire trial. Don't listen to the news. The news hates you. Fox News hates conservatives. CNN hates the liberals. They hate you. That's the reason why they keep trying to turn you against other human beings. Because they hate you. They want you to be angry. They only breed hate. They don't breed unity and understanding. It's all about division. And divide, we conquer. No, divided we fall. United we stand, divided we fall. Yeah, they hate you. They literally hate you. And they lie to you all the time. And who is Amber Heard? She's a Jupiter. And you look at the other one, right? Like the whole thing that's going on with Marilyn Manson, right? I'm not saying he's a good guy or whatever or anything like that. I don't personally know him, but I've listened to people who do know him. And I've listened to interviews and stuff, and people who knew him and Evan Rachel Woods, and they all say Evan Rachel Woods is a liar. And she got in trouble for doing a false swatting or a false fake FBI thing and swatting Manson's house. And so now they're investigating that because she lied. And now she's going to get, and now he's suing her. And she's also a Jupiter. Harvey Weinstein, a Jupiter. And he was brought down by what? Who was the women that were staying out the most were Jupiters. These people have to have rules in a book because they go fucking buck wild. They don't act the same as humans do on this planet. It's the reason why they have to have a certain diet, because they can't digest and eat the things here on this earth that are native to this earth, right? Like they could over in Jupiter. When they came, if you go to another planet, this should make more sense to you, that you should understand it now. This is the reason why they have rules in their book. Do not eat shellfish. Do not eat swine. Because if you go to another planet and you find out that planet is very close to it's very habitable to you, you can live on that planet, you can breathe the air, you can eat the food there, you're going to find out there's certain things that you can't digest, so you can't eat. That's also another thing. It makes sense too that most of Jupiters have to wear glasses because their eyes are not acclimated. Even though generation, their eyes are still not acclimated to this sun's Earth, or to adjust. Right? There's certain things that just are, it just shows, and I'm not against them. I'm just exposing the truth. If you just look at it, and you look at it in that perspective, it makes sense. But that's not really all what this video is about. I also want to talk about the fact that, look, we're getting so much closer. Every single day is ticking away. Ticking away the moments that make up a small day. Let's just say, I don't know, I can't remember that song. Anyhow, it's that song, 1972, Time by Pink Floyd, right? He says, ticking away the moments that make up a dull day. That's it. Make up the dull day. And then you hear me sing. But anyhow, every day is ticking away. Like fast. The dominoes are falling fast. And I have been in martial arts for over 20 years. And when I started martial arts way back in 2001, and when I started, it was right after 9/11 happened. Right after that happened, I said, I've never lost a fight in my life. I've never backed down from a fight. I've been pretty lucky, actually, with some of the fights that I've been, because I never lost. But I was like, I need to learn skills, not just boxing skills, because I boxed when I was younger. I need to learn more skills, because three guys on an airplane of like 50, 60 people, and they take over with some box cutters. I was just like, that's ridiculous. That's like, how is that possible? So I was like, well, I need to learn skills. So I took up Taekwondo, by the way. I didn't know this. And I went to the Taekwondo school I went to, because you would become Kukiwon certified. Every black belt is Kukiwon certified. What's the Kukiwon? The Kukiwon is the governing body of Taekwondo out of South Korea, Seoul, South Korea. And the Kukiwon was established in 1972. What are the odds? So I started taking martial arts and Taekwondo. And even then, my instructors told me, in my first year there, he said, one of these days you're going to have your own school. That was never my intentions. My intentions wasn't to have my own school. My intentions was just to learn. That was it. I just wanted to learn more. I was addicted. And when I do something, I'm 100% in. And then after I left that, after he went to China, and I left that school and I went to another school that was headed by that was Kempo Karate, which is completely different from Taekwondo. And it was headed by a major in the sheriff's department who was the head of a SWAT team, who was an ex-federal agent, who was an interrogator, who was a dive expert, who was in the Navy and all this stuff. Like, he has a massive resume. And when he ran for sheriff in his commercial, he showed a picture of him and my son. So I went and trained under him, and he said saying that he was grooming me to take over that school. To take over the school, to teach, to take over, to run that school for the most part. So then, so people always know, like, oh, he's gonna have, so I did eventually open up my own school, and I ran my school for about 10 years. And I always see people that come in and they bring their kids in, and I tell them, well, don't you want to learn to defend yourself? Don't you want to learn self-defense too? The parents are like, no. I don't need that. I'm not in high school anymore. I don't plan on getting any fights. That's more for the kids. And I'm just like, that is the stupidest damn thing you could possibly say or think. So if something breaks out, you expect your kid is gonna step in and save you? I mean, if you cut some guy off at the gas pump, and you get out and you didn't realize that you made this guy pissed off and he's angry. He had a bad day. He caught his girlfriend cheating on him. Because of that, he went to work with a bad attitude. He ended up getting fired. And then he tried to call his mom. She got pissed off at him. She don't want to hear it. She's tired of his shit. He's going to get gas on his way home. The gas prices are up. He's pissed off. He's angry. It just so happens you cut him off. And you may look like the guy, although your whole family's in the car with you. You may look like the guy that he may imagine that his girlfriend is cheating on him with. And you get out, you go to pump the gas. Well, now you have the gas line on one side of your body, and now you're trapped in between the car and the pump and the gas line while the gas is going. He gets out of his car and he starts coming at you. And he's pissed off and he's angry. What are you gonna do? He's getting in your face. He's screaming. He's yelling. Now he gives you a shove. You fall back. You trip over that gas line. And then he's going to yank the gas hose out. And he's going to come at you. What are you going to do? You don't think that this doesn't happen? Then you got your head in your own ass. Because there are YouTube videos upon YouTube videos upon YouTube videos of adults in bad situations at gas stations, at the movies, at wherever. It doesn't matter. You put in fist fights, 2022 fist fights, 2021 fist fights, and I guarantee you it's not a bunch of children. Yes, there are kids fighting, but you'll see a lot of adults fighting. And it's not always people in the hood who are just angry. Shit happens. Unavoidable situations happen. And right now, what's happening is an unavoidable situation. You will not escape what's coming. It's coming fast, and it's coming hard, and it's going to happen regardless of what you want. It doesn't matter this false reality that you're building up around yourself. And when I talk to people, when I tell them, I don't tell people about what's coming now when I talk to them personally. I just ask them what they think is going to happen. I don't tell them that, hey, shit's about to hit the fan. I don't tell them that. I just ask them, what do you think is going to happen? Well, what do you mean? Like, do you think we're going to go into war? What do you think? You think they're, this is not that big of a deal. No, Russia's not going to come here. This is all going to die down and go away. Then I ask them, well, do you think that maybe, that there may be civil war here? No, that's not. And I get this pandering. Oh no, people just need to get along and stop fighting. Just because that's what they need to do doesn't mean that that's what's going to happen. And then I ask them, well, what do you think about the economy? Oh, we've been in recessions before and stuff. We'll bounce back out of this. These people got their heads up their asses. All the way up in their ass. And the sad part about it is every one of those people have people that depend on them to not have their head in their ass. There is somebody that depends on that person to be the front man, the guy up front, the one who's going to be able to take control of a bad situation. They are not preparing for a bad situation. They don't care if there's a bad situation that's going to happen. And when the time comes and a bad situation happens, they weren't prepared. So the people that depend on them, they're not going to be prepared to do. So you just let everyone down. You let them all down. And the worst part is the time when that situation comes, because it's happening. These things are falling like dominoes. The food's going. You think that that's all just by chance? 100 food factories gone? You think that's by chance? I know who's doing it. And if you really think about it, you would know who's doing it too. You live and sleep with your enemy. And that enemy hates you. It's gotten everything it needs out of you, and it's ready to get rid of your ass. You are no longer needed. 1972 Shaky Robot retired. It was the first mobile AI robot, and now they have Spotbot. And when you look up the stuff for Spotbot, and you look up their interviews and stuff, they always go back to, because that's Boston Dynamics, they always go back to, thanking Shaky Robot from 1972. This stuff, it's all inevitable. It's inevitable. They don't need you. That's like all that bullshit with talking about aliens are going to come here to make human slaves. Come on, are you an idiot? Are you a complete moron? Humans make tiny, tiny little robots that can do all kinds of crazy things that you can't do. Humans make robots that's another thing too, right? Like, I didn't make a video about it, but the Spotbots. Look how small and cutesy the little spot bots, and look at all the stuff that they can do. Imagine them making that thing, 20 feet tall. What they can make that small, the little spot bots that are running around with the police stations now and the police. Imagine one being 20 foot tall with missiles on that sumbitch and machine guns. It's like Sentinel robots, baby, all over. It's true. It's all happening. And it's like I hear these people, about the gun rights. Oh, they're going to take our guns. That whole freaking diversion. Look, the police, the system. It wasn't just the police. It's the judges. It's the entire system failed the kids at that school. And the people there failed. There's reports that there was an officer who was there in that school, and his daughter texted and said she was shot and she ended up dying. There was a woman who her kid was there, she was trying to get in there. Cops said, we're going to arrest you. Epic fail. Total epic fail of society. Period. Society failure. Because society depends on a system. You know how when you see like The Matrix and it says system failure? Yeah, that just happened. That just happened. System failure, baby, all day long. This is a reflection of your society. You don't say, it wouldn't be me. Yeah. A lot of people, they say that until they're in that situation. They freeze and they wait for their orders. Oh, what do we do? Oh. Come on, man. That should have never, ever, ever happened. But it did. And did because of dependence on a system that hates you. And so what did they do? What did the system do? The system got people focused on they're going to take the guns. Bullshit. They're never going to take all the guns. That's never, ever, 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 ever going to happen. It's a complete diversion. Every time one of these heinous things happen, they automatically start bringing up that they're going to take the guns. And then the guns are not taken. They take a little right of something like a bump stock off or like the size of a clip or something like that. They do a little bit here and a little bit there, but they're never just going to come in all outright, take all the guns away from you. It's not going to happen. And they use that as a total diversion. It's a total diversion. Because then people forget about the system failure in the school, and now you got all these assholes on YouTube and assholes on the news with talking points about they're not going to take our guns, but they forgot all about the children. They forgot about the system failure. And then the thing goes through and it's like, they do like a little thing on the gun. They're not going to take, when the day comes and they want to take all the guns, when that day comes, and I hear these people, these yahoos talking about, well, we'll shoot them out. We're come and take it if you want to take it from my dead cold hands. First of all, a lot of those people are the people who back the blue. And who do you think they're going to send in there first? Cannon fodder. They're going to send in the blue. So the guys, when they show up at these people's homes, they got the black and white flag, which is a besmirch of that flag to have the blue line on it, or a red line, or a yellow line. That black and white flag is devoid of the colors for a reason. That black and white flag that was void of a red and blue because you have Democrat and Republican, red and blue. It was to remove system failure. The black and white flag was to show that there was a removal of system failure, and they slipped in this bullshit with one solid blue line. One solid red line. Say, it's for the police or it's for the firefighters. Well, guess what? When those people, let's say if they were to say that they're going to take all the guns, they'll do it sneakily overnight. You won't even know it's going to happen. They'll sign a little order, which really doesn't matter anyhow. None of that stuff matters what they sign. They'll sign a little order, and then overnight, while you're sleeping, you'll get this at the door. Yeah, is Mr. Jones here? Yes, yeah, it's Mr. Jones. Okay, we see that you have you're registered for an AK-47, a rocket launcher, and a couple of hand grenades. I'm just throwing in humor there, but what is it? The AR-15. And they'll say, okay, well, we have a ordered mandate here to remove that weapon from your house, from you. They'll do it in the middle of the night. They won't put it out there and say, hey, we're going to take those guns and then let you get all armed up and ready to fight it out. They'll do it in the middle of the night. Just like they signed other acts in the middle of the night. You don't think they haven't signed other acts in the middle of the night? They signed during the time in 2020 when there was the the Cerveza bug thing going around, and there was, by the way, I found out that Bayer changed its corporation to Bayer in 1972 because they were trying to sever the stigma that they had a bunch of Nazi scientists working for Bayer. Oh yeah, so let that sink in. That's another one, 1972. And Bayer and Pfizer, 1972. So during that time, when that was going on, they slipped in this thing in the middle of the night that they could not be sued if the antivirus, the whatever, serum that they're giving you humans that people lined up for, that they couldn't be sued if people died from it or had complications from it. They did that in the middle of the night. If they did that in the middle of the night, then they'll do this in the middle of the night too. But when that day comes and that time comes, they'll roll up these people's homes, and some of these people have these big flags in front of the house on their car, the sticker with the blue line, say I back the blue and all this. The police will be the ones to show up at your house and tell you to give up your freaking gun. And you'd be like, what about I'm a constitutional right? Too late. It shows here that you're a voter. You voted? Did you vote? Yeah, I voted for Trump though. I didn't vote for that Biden. Doesn't matter. You bought into the system. You played the game. You played that game. And now the rules in the game have changed, and now we're here to take your gun. But I back them. They don't give a damn. Those guys don't care. I know a lot of those guys. I'm not saying a lot of them are bad, but they don't. They literally take orders. Just like in the school when the guy's daughter was murdered and he was a police officer on the other side of the door. He was following orders. Let that sink in. So the first people that are going to go in are going to be the police officers. And when their resources are used up because, a lot of them may end up dying out in some shootouts or whatever. I think most Americans are just full of shit and just loudmouths and not really, they're not going to stay. They say that, but when the time comes, they'll just bitch and complain, hand the guns over, hand over all the bullets and stuff, and they'll just bitch and complain, and they'll just complain about it. But they won't actually do anything. There'll be this small minority that will, and when the time comes, and you've seen it, they've been militarizing the police for a very long time. Because why do you think they did that? They didn't do that because of some gang bust or some drug dealer bust and stuff like that. They militarized the police for your ass, for the common people, for you. And when that time comes, and they figure that, because a lot of police officers, there will be ones that'll just say, hey, you know what, I'm not going to do it. There'll be some that will say, I'm not going to do it. Most of them will, but some won't. And when that time comes and they've used up enough of their lives, you know what they sent in next? 1972 DARPA, 1972 Shaky Robot. How far do you think DARPA is right now? Yeah, no idea. You know, see people, we're going to hold up in a compound. That whole stuff that happened over in Waco, Texas, they ain't going to send no ATF guys in. And if they do and never run out, they'll send in robots. How are you going to stop all the robots? They got drones in the sky. You'll never see them. They'll blow your shit away. They don't care. The system has been preparing to get rid of you for a long time. You have fed the beast. You have stroked the beast's ego. And the beast wears the colors of red and blue. It doesn't matter which side. And well, there's a new head figure that's going to go on that beast, and he's going to vet the swamp. Bullshit. In fact, if you look the way the immortal Joe Biden, and predominantly, if you look at the way that the Clockwork Godfather Trump, the way he looks left and right, he has to move his body left and right. He doesn't typically move his head and he doesn't swivel his head around fast or anything. He normally has to move his shoulders with his head, which is very bizarre because if you listen to the Anunnaki book, the Anunnaki Return 2022, and they talk about the shapeshifters, they say that when they shapeshift, they can't move their head, they have to move the whole body. And so I was like, maybe I should start watching some of these politicians, some of these people. And the ones that have to always move their body and kind of their heads kind of locked into place, I don't know, maybe they're spot on. Maybe those are shapeshifters. These are people that can't, their heads can't swivel around. They have to move the whole body left and right all the time. But, hey, c'est la vie, like Shirley Chisholm said. C'est la vie. But anyhow, I just wanted to share some of this information with you guys, some of the things, it's definitely coming. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of bad stuff that's happening. The system is in total, the system for you is in total collapse and failure. But for them, the system is right on time. Right on time. And I've said this many times before, and maybe you didn't catch this, but I hope you catch it now. Because if you're a voter and you vote red or blue or whatever, and you're, Nancy Pelosi, she's the devil, or you're on the other side and you're saying, Chuck Schumer? No, Mitch McConnell, he's a devil and all that. When the time comes and this country starts to fall, they go underground together in the same place. They go to safety in the same place. When the Capitol was hit on the 6th, they didn't say, okay, all the Democrats go to this side, and here's evidence for you right here. Human, American, America. Here's evidence for you right here. They didn't say all the Democratic senators and everybody's in the Democratic Party go in this side of the building and hide, and all the Republicans go on that side. They all went together. Because it's you versus them. What don't you understand? You don't get. People don't get it. They don't get it. It's like people try to tell me, well, the system, it's not that bad and it can be fixed. Come on, the system fucking hates you. It hates everything about you. You are a useless mouth eater, and it's evidence that you're a useless mouth eater because you still feed the system, and you buy into the delusion and the bullshit. And I'm sure I always offend people, but most people they don't listen. But whatever, Who am I? I'm just a visitor here, just observing. I'm neutral, and I'm just pointing out, just showing you that. Anyhow, I know I forgot a bunch of topics and things I want to talk about, like the whole thing with Amazon and all this and stuff. It's just, there's so much happening in the war and things like that. It really doesn't matter. If you're not paying attention, you're not paying attention. If you are, you are. So it doesn't matter what I say here. But, I just want to give you a different perspective, different angle, looking at things the way I do from the lens of somebody who's neutral to the earth, to this place, to seeing the way things are happening with the human species, and giving you a perspective that you probably haven't thought of or maybe haven't heard before. So that's the perspective I come from that ultra neutral perspective. And that's the only way moving forward for the humans. It's the only way to become neutral. And I've said that many, many times. And I haven't been saying it enough lately, but I need to repeat it again, become neutral. Another thing I need to repeat too is, this whole thing, like I said, people with the abortion thing, and I said it was going to happen. And it's right now, this year is 22. And it's been 50 years since 72. And do the math. 50 plus 22 is 72. So that's what I was going to say in the beginning of this video. I was wrong about that. I was wrong that 2020 was it. But I also said in those videos back in 2020, I could be wrong. We could go into 2021. And then I said, well, maybe it's possible 2021 was going to be the end. But 1010 told me, no, I'm pretty sure it's 2022. So she was spot on about that. But we never put the 2 and 2 together, 2 and 2. Oh my God, 2 and 2, 22. Putting 2 and 2 together. There you go, that's another thing. You got to put the 2 and 2 together, so connecting the dots. But we never really put the 2 and 2 together. The 22 is 50 years out from 1972. And if you do the math, 50 plus 22 is 72. So this would be the year of going back. And it's just the fact that all that stuff with the Anunnaki books and stuff, and the things with the 72 and all that, it's all right there, guys. It's all right. I saw something else too, and I wanted to bring this up real fast. That was a 144. That mammoth, the longest cave in the world, was discovered. The connection was discovered to make the Mammoth Cave the longest cave in the world in 1972. And they said it's 144 miles. 144. And what is 144? Well, 144 is 72 and 72. So there you go. I mean, it's just, it's all right there. Like, you can't make this up. Look it up. It's all there. It's evidence. It's all facts. I only bring facts. I only share the facts. I only share a perspective of somebody who's neutral and not somebody who's pushing you towards a religious agenda, not somebody who's pushing you towards a political agenda, not pushing you towards a sexist agenda or any type of agenda at all. It's just to show you from a neutral position, a voice that you have never, ever heard. This ultra neutral position, that's the only way to move forward for your species. And with that, enjoy the rest of the time you have left.